Welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream with live pupils, recorded for Ustream.tv and also recorded for YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. I'm working in the Bennett Klein sketchbook, and I think this might be the first one, but bear with me, I'm not sure. And it's a grayscale, so a lot of the work's been done for you, and I'm actually working with a portrait set of Derwent pencils, but they're pastels. So this doesn't have a key, but if you're very careful and just do a light soft scribble of pencil, you can get some gorgeous colours. And then you can use a blending tool, and I'm using this Colour Shaper by Royal Sovereign Limited UK. It's the Colour Shaper and it's a firm number 6 taper point. And it's really squishy and nice to use, and it works quite well on this ordinary paper, because I didn't want to use pencils, and it's quite fast, and I really love the pale colours. So and there's no oops, and again you see if you've got a little bit of dark in there, you've got to keep your brush fairly pale. I must have just touched into the other colour there. Oops. So you're just teasing colour around. And I normally use 3 colours, but the face I've used 2. It's just that little bit of Chinese white, and then there's a different colour there that I've used. The names on these don't make sense because they're very pale, because they're for portraiture, so it says burnt umber, but you know it's an umber that's very pale. So I'm working from light to dark, just very carefully, going through the light area and then adding the darker colour and pushing it around. So this paper doesn't have a key to it, so I've put the chocolate carmine, which is a normal kind of colour, rather than a very pale colour, and I'm just kind of teasing a little bit to cause some highlights and shadows. And apologies for catching the cable. So again, there I want it very pale, but then this is going to be in shadow. Drag that shadow down, and the same with this one, drag the shadow down. Just can't use my thumbs today, so it's got to be easy today. And then just very carefully tease that shadow down there. Now that looks a little bit too dark, but when we get the the octopus hat and the blouse and the fluffy the bow, then I'm sure we'll be fine. But I do like these pale colours, I have to say. So I'm going to do him a bit of a greeny blue, very similar to the birds that I did earlier. If I can flick through. And I haven't set this, so it's smudging on the other side a little bit. But if you went across there with your hand, it would all wipe away and smudge. So you've got to be a little bit careful. But I want to go in and put maybe a little bit more detail and shadow in here, and just make those flowers, just pop that little bit more. So if you don't fix it, you can go back in and work on it. So I was looking at these colours of these birds, and I think that would be quite nice for the octopus. So I think I had the hooker's green, forest green. Have a look at these, and again these do not bear any resemblance to their names. So I've actually got 5 colours that I quite like. There's hooker's green. So I've chosen these. Now the olive green is probably its normal colour, it's got a D, and I think that's for dark. But the others are F, and that's faint. So hooker's green is going to be a very pale colour. So apologies for sleeve. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a test because I want to put them in order of darkness. So this one is Hooker's Green, and then I've got May Green, and I've got Olive Green. So that's the colours I'm going to use for those three. And then I've got a Forest Green and Terra Verte. So they're very pale, but they're going to give me, so that's going to be the underneath. I think that's going to be the highlight. I might miss that one off actually, see how I feel. Because I've got 4 colours. I think the May Green may be a little bit too bright. So I'm going to get rid of the May Green and just have 4. The May Green is too green. So I need that for a reference really, because sometimes I say, so the darkest area is going to be the olive green, and you've got to kind of, why have I got a shadow over there? That's strange, just give me 2 seconds. Does that disappear when I do that? Oh, sorry, back on that. Why have I got a shadow? Or is it my eyesight? I don't know what I've just done to create the lines. I'm going to work on the octopus head. Just drop down a smidgen. The colour's gone a little bit strange on everybody. Have a look. I think we're in focus. Just put the pencils there. Check the focus. So I'm going to work from the top across because it's just a bit easier. I'm going to put that on the head, on her face, and hope I don't scratch. So we want, the greeny bit was going to be the olive green. So I'm just going to stroke a little bit of colour. Apologies for whinging and moaning, but the thumb's decided it's not happy. Now I've gone over there a little bit, so I'm going to just, and then we've just got the tiniest little bit here, and that's the beauty of a pencil. And then the next one, I think, let me just have a quick, I think that's the order. So I like to put them in order on the desk, and then I'm not getting too confused. So that's the palest. That's the palest, I think. So we have a bluey one now. So again, I'm going to do the blue next, I think. And then I've just got two. I think I'm going to change my mind. Just bear with me, I just need to put those away. I'm going to use French Ultramarine, and because it's got the F, it's very pale, and I really like that one. And so the French Ultramarine actually looks like almost invisible, but it gives the most beautiful highlight. So it does have the F next to it, meaning that it's faint, because that's by no means French Ultramarine, but it's a lovely highlight colour. So I'm going to make sure that, again, this has got a little bit of brown olive on it, and I just stroke it across a baby wipe the same way I clean the paintbrushes. Make sure that it's dry, and then just maneuver that colour round. So you're making sure that you're blending it onto the page, but bearing in mind there's no tooth. And then we can do this side here. And then we'll take it into the next green, which I think was Hooker's green, wasn't it? I think. And then that can be just manoeuvred. And there's not a lot of colour on there. It's just a very faint dust layer. But it's just enough for the page. I mean, bearing in mind this is a colour book. This is not a proper pastel paper with a good tooth. There's no tooth at all. And yet it's just clinging on for dear life and giving us a little bit of colour. And you can push this colour around. And that's about as much as I want to do with a blending tool, but I've gone over there so I can show how to get rid of that. Oh hi, Alfie's in the doghouse today. So I've got my little Derwent electric eraser, and it does sound like a bumblebee trapped in a wasp's nest. So just and you can't smudge it because it'll smudge. You've got to blow it. If it doesn't move, you want a very soft paintbrush, and just brush it off very carefully. I've got a tiny highlight in there, but I might leave that because I like that. So now I've got some big, I presume they're his eyes. So, I could use the May green. Was it the May green I had? Yes. So that could give him some May green eyes. And I'd probably use that May green on the tentacles as well, on the little suckers. So we can put the two greens. No, I might not do that. So I know that this olive green is the darkest one I'm using. So where it's, and everywhere where it's not light, I'm going to put that. So just do that side, and again I've gone on to the other side, which I shouldn't have done really, so I'm just going to put a little bit of that there, and then the other green I'm going to use on here because I think I want a bit more colour. And I'm only using two colours now, but I think I might get away with that. So again, I probably needed to go back in there with a little bit of olive, but this is a real good way of just getting the colour down and having a look. But this is working from light to dark again, so if you make a real boo-boo, if you make a very big boo-boo with it, you can just actually erase it straight off. That's the beauty of it. It's not set. It's just not set at all. Even though it's been smeared in. Now when it's been set with hairspray or fixative, then you can't move it. But I'm not going to do that till the end. I'm going to ask my daughter to take it outside But I've shut these pages once or twice and they're just about okay. So I like that colour. I think we could possibly do with a little bit more colour in there. It's maybe a little bit too kind of boring. And it can build up a little bit. And then I'm going to go in there with the dark. I might go in there with the dark olive actually, I think. I've used the olive quite a lot. The green umber. But to my mind, it's an olive. So again, I can show like I did with the hair. You can either go in with a brown or a different colour. And I don't have a dark purple, but a dark purple would make a nice shadow. You can tease that colour where you want it. And once you've pushed it right up to a highlight bit, it gives it a really nice tone. And you can blend that out. So I've ended up with 3 colours on here. And I quite like that. There's just 3 colours. So now where it's very dark, I'm going to be putting this olivey colour. And then when it's a bit paler is going the next colour. So 3 is a good, 3 pencil colours is a good colour. You're just going to have that lovely little bit of a warm blue highlight. So welcome to Bennett Designs, and I'd like to say hi to everybody that watch on YouTube and all my subscribers, and I appreciate it. And if you like your videos, please like and subscribe. And if you don't like the videos, please leave a comment of what you didn't like so that I can change it. Now, I've only been making videos, I think it says February was the first last year, so I've been making them a year. But I don't mind anybody hitting the not like button, but you must tell me what I've done wrong, because it's a bit like hitting a puppy after the event. I have no idea what they've done, so they can't get better. But that would be wonderful if everybody subscribed, because I have to date, and I was so excited about getting 100. I have 477 subscribers, I think. So thank you ever so much. I'm hoping to maybe get 1,000 so that I could get a little bit of money, and then I could afford to buy the chameleon pens, because they've gone back. In fact, she's actually left them, but she couldn't carry them. I found them in the shelf, but she doesn't know. I don't think she knows, because she'll need them for college when she does the next project. So I'm going to have a trip to Manchester, but that would be good because I can go to the art shop. And she said she'll push me in the wheelchair to the art shop. And there's a really nice old art shop from the 1890s, I think. And as much as I'd like to go to Cornelia, I keep calling it Cornelius's. I forgot what it's called in London. I think that's going to be a little bit of a warmer trip. So just putting that little bit of blue in there, it's going to completely change those. And I think I might just do those blue as well. Oopsie. So I'm just scratching the colours and holding them in my hands, the 3 colours that I've got, and then blending. So I'm hoping that if I can get 1,000 subscribers, I can get a little bit of money for the supplies, because I would really love the chameleon pens, because I can use them. So start with the lightest and then smidge those in a little bit. So I have to rely on birthdays and stealing a little bit of money from the housekeeping. So, but hubby's desperate to retire, but he says I spend too much. I'm going to try see if I can put some blue highlight on here. This is the French ultramarine. Let's see if I can just get that onto there this morning. Let's see if we can do that. So again, it doesn't look brilliant, but once I get dark around here, it might pop a little bit. So I'm going to put the French ultramarine on here, because that is going to be very pale. And then I want the next one. And then we can have the green in between. So I'm going to put the ultramarine down, because I'm only using a very palest colours. And then that's kind of the next colour down. And we have the darkest one. So thank you all for watching, and it's a little bit dusty as this if you've got asthma, so the one thing I'm trying not to do is talk too much so I'm not inhaling. So I shall just do this section here, and then I shall pan out a little bit and you can see what I've done. So start with the palest first. But again, this is a very clean way. There will be a little bit of dust, but there's no water to spill. And you can just have 3 pencils on the go at a time, which is quite nice. And then work your way darker. So you can want a really nice dark next to the pale, but oops, the problem is I'm zoomed in and the camera's really next to it. So. And I just managed to do that. So if I zoom out, I hope you can see those gorgeous pastel colours. I think the light might have gone a little bit away. Just push that up there a bit. Make it any better? So you can see that there's going to be a little bit of dark into there. And then I did have the dark olive, didn't I, that I used. I mean, there is, again, you can go back in and under here, and you can put a point on it if you really wanted it. But you want to do this when you've finished. Just So a little bit like you finish all of it, because you don't want too much, and you're just taking it that little bit. And again, if you do this first, you'll probably do too much. Like here, I've done too much. I should have done the olive first, because you won't know till it's finished that you want to really make that kind of pop out of it. And then just under there, just giving that little bit, and that's just given that little bit more depth. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. And I've got the pencils next to me here, and it's a good idea to put them in order. That's the May Green, so the May Green, I thought I might, I did use it for the eyes, and just see if I can just actually, because I don't want that too much off. I don't think I can use this today. Just see if I can just, no, I can't use it. My thumb just will not work. And again, I've made a bit of a smudge there. So I'm going to leave that. But what I would do is just take that off, because I'm not that precise with my right hand. But if I took the in the eye, the highlight, a little bit like when you're working with charcoal and you take the eraser and take that out, you can take that out, and it would be very, that would make the eyes pop then. And that was the May Green, so we could put a different green behind there. And again, once you've got a dead colour down, you can go in there. You don't. But if you use 3 colours, it's quick, and it gives you a light, a medium, and a dark. And then, as I say, you can look and think, well, actually, I need a 4th colour in there, and then I need a highlight in there. But if you get, you can't go in there with the highlight and the shadow, the deepest and the first. You want a mid-tone. So I play with 3 mid-tones first. 3 basic shades first, and then once I've covered it all over, I can then think, if I darken this up, that's going to pop out a little bit more. Or think just the tiniest little bit here is going to kind of give me and then make sure that it's kind of fairly clean, and then just the tiniest smudge rather, and then it makes them pop out. And I do the same at the other side. But that French ultramarine has made a beautiful natural highlight. So this kind of isn't really light, but then this is very light because it's on top. The same with the bow here. You know, that's going to have a very light, because the light's hitting this full on. You just see what that looks like. I'll put my glasses on, I can't see what it looks like. I'll just lift that up a little bit. Just see if the light is different. I mean, these are very, very pale because they're pastel pale colours. They're even paler. So they're a pastel colour and then they're a pale pastel colour, if that makes proper sense. So I'm not sure what colour I'm going to do. So we know that's the very light and that's the very dark. So they can go there for the moment. And then we have the May Green, which I just used for the eyes. So that one can actually go away. That goes on the other side. So that's given me my 3 again. So I've got the dark, the medium, and the blue, which has given me that nice. So again, I can just put... Oops, I think that's the wrong one, actually. Oh, no, it isn't. It's right. They look very different when you see the ends of them. And then in there with that darker one. and then a little bit of a blend. And again, that's going to be quite dark under there. And it's not going to be as bright as over here because this is in the shadow. Does that make sense? Am I still with everybody, or have I kind of messed up everything? So I do quite like working, and again, it's another different way of working. I seem to be morphing morphing from place to place. So we said the very palest was there, so that's what I'm going to use for the blue. The French ultramarine, I'm going to put that onto here. And then make sure that my blending tool is completely clean. Blows a little bit of dust off, and then just teasing that colour. I mean, it's almost white, you can't tell, but just taking that starkness away. And then we do have the pale blue, which is, and that's the French ultramarine, which is forest green. So I'm just going to put the forest green just on that one there. And blend that in there. And then we wanted the next one under there. And you can just go back to the burnt umber and kind of tease that colour down there. I think I'm going to do a darker hair, I think, just to give that a little bit. So that's going to make the octopus's shadow on her all the more realistic. So her hair really does go under that octopus sitting on her head. And there is a little bit of colour left on there that I can manipulate round. So I should do that bit next. If it wasn't pastel, I would go up there, but because this is pastel, although I can actually change the page. Oh, postman. So bear with me 2 seconds. We could have a bark alert. So I'm going to say that's the end of part 1, just because the postman's here. So thank you for watching.